What's up guys, Grim here. Now I know a lot of you have dealt with players that are toxic. And what I mean by toxic as in players that will do anything they can to make you or somebody else have a miserable time in the game. Now they might be the types that just tell everybody that they suck because your team is not winning, or they could be the type that's just wanting to cause problems no matter what. In Warfronts, we see these type of players all the time, and it doesn't matter how skilled you are usually. I consider myself a pretty good skilled player whenever it comes to PvP in Rift, but all the time I get people telling me I suck, and it could be something as minor as me just not accepting a duel or something. Maybe I don't feel like dueling at that moment whenever they challenge me and I'm just wanting to go through my skills or something. Well, this guy is going to stand in my face in Tempest Bay and tell me I'm a terrible player, and they don't even know me, but they're going to go ahead and say I'm a terrible player. They've never seen any of my videos, but they just know I suck because I didn't accept the duel. Well, that's a toxic player. The recommendation that I have for dealing with those types is to take yourself out of the situation. Now what I mean by that is if somebody is just bothering you in a chat or something, I don't even bother ignoring them. I just switch over the chat over to my combat logs instead. Just click on that combat tab down there. So if you're in a war front and somebody's telling you that you've got terrible heals or something like that, go ahead and click over to that combat tab. Yes, you'll miss out on a little bit of chat if there is coordination actually happening, which is pretty rare actually. So you're probably not going to miss out on much, and if there's a toxic player that's influencing people's way of talking, then go ahead and get out of it. Now if you're in a dungeon or something like that, leave the dungeon if you like. I would not stay in any dungeon where there is a toxic player that's causing issues. If you're a tank or a healer, you are probably going to be blamed for everything in that dungeon or raid, so go ahead and take yourself out of the situation. You'll probably queue right up into the next group while they'll be waiting half an hour for another healer or another tank. So you get the last laugh. Don't worry about them toxic players, and if you're in war fronts and stuff, go ahead and target them more if you want, you know, if they're not on your team. If they are on your team, just ignore it. Click over on that combat tab, don't worry about them. If you're in a dungeon, take yourself out of the dungeon. You can queue up for instant adventures or whatever else. The thing is whenever you take yourself out of the situation of playing with those players and they need you or need that extra person, whether it's in a war front or whatever, you leaving is causing them problems. Well, maybe they should have kept their mouth shut. Maybe you would have helped them a lot. They don't know. They just know that they're going to lose even worse now that you left. I tend to not worry too much about the toxic players. There's always going to be people hating on each other, and you really should ignore it. There's no reason to get upset about it yourself, because if you argue with them, that's exactly what they want. And usually they're better at arguing than you are whenever it comes to putting each other down, because they've been doing it for a long time. It's that type of person. And if you enjoy arguing with people over nonsense like that, you may be one of the toxic players that everybody else is trying to avoid anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. My name is Grim, and I'll see you tomorrow.